I'm starting to hate my phone. Take 3. So, anyway, the problem with feeling-based arguments over factual ones is that once you feel strongly enough about something, say because your God told it to you and God is infallible, or because you went to college and you were taught this by a group of people with professional degrees who taught you feelings-based arguments rather than doing what I believe is their job and providing you with factual evidence to base your own arguments from as an individual. The problem with this is that it leads to extremes. Clearly no one's going to nuke the gay baby whales for Jesus, but there are people who, if you proved the baby whales were gay, would quite potentially want them killed to prevent the potential spread of gay whales. I don't know, but there are people out there with extreme ideologies on both sides. These extreme ideologies come almost invariably from feelings-based arguments over factual ones. While basing your arguments on facts does not mean that you will always agree, there's still plenty that can be argued. It leads to much less extremism and violence than feelings-based arguments. Now, religion and potentially even social justice serve a purpose. There are lots of people who wouldn't know how to deal with the fear of the unknown, who are perhaps emotionally incapable of what I would consider growth, but emotionally incapable of moving past the fears that we're all born with. There are a lot of people out there, and some of them are going to need this kind of emotional help until we get to a point where science has come to understand everything. A point I doubt we'll ever reach. So there will always be a need for a religion or something resembling it. And it'll probably always cause some problems and some extremism simply by the merit of what it is. But that doesn't mean it's all negative, or that the extremism can't be tempered by understanding. The more you understand someone's ideology when they're arguing from their feelings from a moral standpoint, the more you can explain to them why it's important for them to be inclusive of other people's ideas and beliefs. Why it's important not to take the first swing at that Nazi when you see them. Because punching a Nazi is kind of like shooting a gay baby whale. You're attacking someone for something you don't agree with because of an ideology on how you feel. And when I say Nazi, I mean the modern definition of Nazi, which has come to include basically anyone who disagrees with anyone who feels like using the term. I've even used it, I'll admit, on someone I felt was acting like a Nazi. Now, I do feel that they were filling a lot of the traditional definitions of such, but not to the point that I think they were an actual Nazi. They were someone who'd used the word unhyperbolically to describe people who I do not think were Nazis, so I was definitely trying to prove a point. But I think most of us online who've debated for any period of time have at least come across it, and many of us have used it ourselves. So, don't punch a Nazi. Don't hit someone because you disagree with their ideology. Don't dish out group or social justice because you don't know what the individual that you're dishing it out against even really believes. The classic example is, of course, the university professor who assaulted a man with a bike lock in Portland for waving an American flag. The man he assaulted was actually there to support the same candidate as the Antifa professor, Bernie Sanders, as it were. He just also loves America. So, don't judge somebody based on the flag that they wave. Get to know why they adopted the ideology they hold, what their background is, where they come from. If you truly disagree with them, and if you've identified the faults in your own logic as much as you can, try to educate them, engage, debate. But stop just blocking people. Don't punch Nazis. And don't base your arguments on feelings. Do everything you can to understand those unknowns, because that's the real way to move past your fear. It's not explaining away the unknowns with your feelings or your faith. It's understanding them so that you can move past them. That's why, while I'm not against religion, I support science over religion. That's why I argue for facts over feelings. And that's why I think that religion and identity politics, including racial identity politics, white nationalism, the black identity politics movements, which are countless in the country where I live, all of them fall under the same category, even if they're not the same thing. Sorry this turned into a 3-part video. I might come back to the subject. I didn't touch on quite everything that I wanted to, but the breaks in the video threw me off a little bit. Anyway, I'm your host, Louis Cypher. Thanks for watching. As always, this is the Devil's Advocates Debate Club. Enjoy.